Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let's just put that right there real quick. And let's do that. Okay, so yes, we are ready. I got my notes here. We're going to be reviewing Red Rising today. And I have to say, I absolutely love this book. I don't know why it took me so long to read this book. I really don't. I read it for the Sci-Fi Fantasy Book Club that I host at Barnes & Noble in Fort Lauderdale. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal book. I think one of my favorite aspects about the book is that Hunger Games kind of feel to it and the Roman mythology. So, if you need a little backstory, this is a dystopian sci-fi book. It takes place in our galaxy, and you have Darrow, and what he's doing is he's a red. He's mining, I think it's helium. He's mining an element on Mars, so that they can terraform Mars to make it habitable. So their lifespans are very short because they live underground, right? Turns out everything's a lie. Everything is a lie. He discovers that after the untimely death of his wife. That happens right at the beginning of the book. I think in chapter 2 or chapter 3. This novel moves so quickly. And that's one of the things that I love about it, just the pacing, the energy. It reads effortlessly. I think Pierce Brown did an amazing job writing the story. I think the publishers and the editors did a really good job of editing the story because it reads so, like I said, effortlessly. There's nothing wrong with the pacing, although I will say the pacing does take a drop when he is with the carver and he is getting carved. He joins the son of Ares kind of to just get revenge for his wife's death and, for everyone else that he knows who's red, who's living a lie, who's trapped, being treated as subhuman, and basically enslaved in a way without their knowledge of being enslaved, right? Because they mine for the silvers, the golds, for everyone. They think they are doing a service to their community. They're being manipulated. And in doing so, they are basically slaves to the hierarchy. Really, really interesting storytelling. And again, it reads so effortlessly. But like I said, that pacing, it goes. And then it does take a drop. Because the Sons of Ares, they are training Darrow to infiltrate the school so that he can infiltrate the society, so that he can come out on top and get a position. They are playing the long game. They're like, yeah, we realize this might take a decade of your life, but what we want is to tear down the system from the inside out. So they are very much aware that they are playing the long game, the Son of Ares. And in doing so, they are pretty much investing in Darrow. And this is something that they have attempted many times before with countless other people. And Darrow's like, well, I've got nothing else to live for, so yeah, let's do this thing. He's willing to die for this. And he's still young, like I said. The Reds don't have long lifespans. So he got married at 15, 16, and then this takes a couple years. So he is into the academy at 18, 20, thereabouts. And I kind of lost track of time during that pacing slip. I understand it was necessary for the plot. I don't think the story could have been written without it, but it does take a dip, that pacing. Because we are delving more into kind of the backstory. Because they have to teach Darrow everything he doesn't know. They have to teach him how to be a gold in the society. They have to teach him, dancing and history. So he has to go through, and not to mention, they are literally carving up his body. They are literally changing his everything. His appearance. They're changing everything about him in order to make him into a gold so that he can become a member of that society and come out on top and do what the Sons of Ares want them to do. Needless to say, they are successful. Darrow's fucking smart. I think that was something that was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting him to be that good at everything that he does, but it's really interesting to see his character develop. I think there are times when he is in the whole Hunger Games situation that is also tied to Roman mythology, because the whole the hierarchy, the system, basically, they take all, their kind of pretentious kids, everyone who grew up in wealth, and they put them in this arena. Like, you guys aren't allowed to kill each other, but we do want to see how you guys form a society. And it makes sense. They want to see and study evolution. I love the line where he calls presidents a necessary tyrant. I highlighted that. Like, I didn't actually highlight it because I'm not someone who actually annotates their books, but I did take a picture of that page, and I did bring it to book club for a discussion. I'm like, oh my god, this was so impactful and important. Democracy no longer exists, basically, in this new dystopian society. I mean, the complexities of it and how they do this, they're putting everyone into this arena, Hunger Games style. And I think in some ways this was inspired by Hunger Games. I think the author has said that many times. You definitely see that resonate in the story. But I love that Roman mythology as well. They separate everyone depending on their traits. And now they leave it to them, like, okay, this is wartime. How are you going to function and form a society? So I think it does make you, the reader, think a lot about how society has just kind of evolved and how it functions, and just the whole story and scope, because now you're seeing Darrow evolve as a character. He attacks Olympus, with all the proctors, and he kind of says ha 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 to them, and it's really great because he's getting noticed. He was not supposed to get this noticed, though, so I don't know how that's going to play well for him in the rest of the series. I mean, the whole thing is forced Darwinism. The successful are coming on top because they want to see who can be thoughtful and who can be innovative in order to choose their next tops in their society. They want to see how they're going to evolve and function in this scenario where they don't have access to everything that they've grown up with. They're basically a bunch of spoiled brats. They've been put into the wild with nothing. They're like, okay, kind of like Lord of the Flies, reminiscent, like, okay, fend for yourselves. You don't have food, but they have food. You have some necessary resources that they don't have, but they have some necessary resources that you have. It's a lot of complexities, but I like the complexities, and I think it really does help evolve the characters, because there are times when Darrow is a little stupid, but there are times where he is the most thoughtful out of all of the spoiled brats. He's the most, he's the cleverest, and you wouldn't think that coming from his background, but I think it's because of his background that he sees things with a different perspective than they do. So it's really, really interesting book just to see how everything plays out. And also, I just have to say this for my own, Cassius and Darrow, they just reminded me of early Lex and Clark from Smallville, like that bromance. I was like, oh, the bromance. I love their brotherly relationship, and to see that fall apart, it really stung. I was like, oh, ouch. Please find your way back to each other. That's just me. So, I thoroughly enjoyed the book. I cannot wait to see. I honestly loved it so much that I wanted to just knock everything else off my TBR and move up Golden Sun and Morning Star up on my TBR so I can read them. So yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent novel. Absolutely love it. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next. So, on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.